Hello. In this video, we're going to take a look at the lead category, water efficiency, and some of the design strategies that can be used to support this facet of sustainable architecture. In this lead category, we'll take a look at strategies for indoor water use and for outdoor water use. All of these design strategies are going to start with an efficiency first approach. And this is a way of setting design priorities for water efficiency. The number one priority, and where we start, is to specify efficient fixtures, equipment, appliances, plants, landscaping, irrigation systems, all right, to lower the total water consumption. Next in our priorities is to capture and use any available water sources, usually rainwater, all right? Again, with the same goal of reducing total consumption. Finally, we want to incorporate metering into our projects in order to monitor the water consumption and use after occupancy. And these water efficiency approaches support our triple bottom line. Starting with the planet, all right, we can recharge the groundwater supply by specifying permeable surfaces. We support the profit goal by creating reduced sprawl and smaller water distribution systems. All right, so we have to build less piping. And also, we're going to use less energy and less money to provide less heated water. And finally, we support our people, we support humanity by giving social equity and access clean water for all. And we also want to keep an eye on the future and maintain our clean water systems for future generations. So let's start out by talking about indoor water use. This is going to include your typical fixtures. We got toilets, urinals, showers, sinks. It also includes something you may not have heard of before, and that's process water. What's process water? It's water used for building systems such as heating and cooling, and also for business operations. And this is typically going to be industrial use. And it includes things like commercial dishwashers, commercial washing machines, and other equipment. All right. When you're looking at these water fixtures, you want to make the distinction between flush fixtures and flow fixtures. So flush fixtures are ones that dispense a specific volume of water at one time. That includes toilets and urinals, and they're measured in gallons per flush. Flow fixtures, on the other hand, dispense a specific flow of water for a period of time. All right, and that includes sinks and showers. And so we measure those a little bit differently. We measure them in gallons per minute. One thing I really want to note here is that process water. How do we use water for heating and cooling? Well, it turns out that one of the very common cooling methods is called a cooling tower. If you're not really familiar with this, it uses the power of evaporation to cool our buildings. And take a look at this infographic here. Go ahead and pause and make sure that you understand how water is used to cool our buildings. When we're designing for water efficiency, it's important to know how efficient your design is. How do we measure this? Well, project teams are going to measure water use against a baseline. So a baseline will take into account the number of occupants expected in the building and their typical needs. For example, your building owner estimates 10 occupants. There are standard amounts of that will tell you how many toilet flushes and minutes of sink use can be expected for those occupants per day. So to use a baseline, a project team is going to calculate how much water a standard or a conventional building of the same use and of those same number of occupants would use. Then they calculate how much their design building is going to use and compare the two. Let's talk about design strategies for reducing total indoor water use. And remembering our efficiency first set of priorities, the number one thing that you can do is to install efficient plumbing fixtures. The next priority would be to use non-potable water. All right, that's the gray water that you may have collected on site. And this can be iffy because some jurisdictions, some cities or municipalities don't allow this. So double check your code requirements and your zoning. The third one is to install meters and sub-meters. Sub-meters are devices that meter a particular type of water use. For example, you might have a overall water meter for your entire site and a sub-meter for your landscaping system. It's important to note, here's the quote, what gets measured gets managed. So having those sub-meters installed is important for your buildings facilities team to keep an eye on water use. Let's move on to talk about outdoor water use. Now, indoor water use had a whole list of different uses. Outdoor water use has one primary use, and that is irrigation for landscaping. So let's skip right to those design strategies. Again, remembering our efficiency first priorities, you will choose locally adapted plants, and that's going to be either native plants or low water use plants. All right, and that will help you use xeriscaping, all right, and design the landscape to use less water. Pair that with an efficient irrigation technology. All right, instead of the sprinklers that you saw in the last slide, there are some far more efficient irrigation technologies. Next, we're going to reuse some non-potable water. That could be captured water, rainwater, gray water. Every now and then you run into a city that has a municipal reclaimed water system to use. And again, let's hit this topic again. You want to install sub-meters to track water consumption at a smaller level. You've just learned about the LEED water efficiency category and the design strategies that will support your water efficient project. Thanks, everyone.